your coffee cup on my nightstand. Not to reminisce, just a reminder to never go back to a life we shared. Anytime I'm feeling the urge to look at a picture, oh, I get so confused. 'Cause I swear I am so over you. My mommy told me that we shouldn't worry. Daddy told me just a good story. He said to move on and keep going. We had one more life, one more shot at sunrise. Erase everything, start with new eyes. No more practicing tragic goodbyes. What if they fly?
One, two. Coming off the top, y'all know how we do. Listen, I'ma drop a freestyle you can cherish. I'ma send a shout out to the host named Eric. Yo, he's never on some average shit. You know Eric, he stays loud and passionate. I'm about to break it down for y'all with the clever song. Yo, shout the host named Thomas, cause he's never wrong. Yo, shout to John, you know that he's smart and quiet. Unlike my freestyles, which cause a riot. I'm about to do it like this, cause the people love me. Shouts out to PHP, the ugly. It's called ugly cause it's not professional, but I'm about to come through and bless it with style. So let's do it when I'm spitting, I perfume the room. Yo, the segment of the show is called Doom and Gloom. That came from Thomas. Yeah, can nobody go beyond this? I get the mic and then I'm about to keep it like a promise. Yeah, and y'all know we fill them up with anguish. We talking about the PHP, the programming language. About to break it down, no exaggeration. What do y'all do for a living? Web applications. Okay, I can dig it. My words spray tight. They getting together on the Thursday nights. Yeah, when it comes to rhyming, you can call me the new dude. I spew true lyrics while y'all broadcast on YouTube. So let's get it. You know my lyrics are major. All up in the comments, they got plenty of haters, but they doing what they doing. Keep it ugly. We ending every show with the saying it's lovely. Let's go. Hey, shout out to y'all. Peace to the whole squad, man. Hope your channel is doing real well on YouTube. Hope you guys are having fun. And it was an honor and blessing to do this little custom freestyle for y'all. Hope you enjoy. Stay up. Yeah. Come on. Hey.
It's June 22nd, 2023, and this is episode 340 of the PHP Ugly podcast. If this is your first time listening and or watching, welcome. If you're a returning listener or watcher, welcome back. You can catch our podcast live streamed every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Pacific time. And when you catch us live, you can actually be part of the show by joining us in our Discord channel at discord.phpugly.com, where we have great conversations with everybody in there all week long, but especially on Thursday night when everybody kind of becomes part of the show. So come on in. You might be the person who titles the next episode. We do have a couple sponsors, honeybadger.io and JetBrains PhpStorm, as well as our supporters on Patreon. And we're going to talk about all those good people a little later in the show. But for now, I am one of your hosts, Eric Van Johnson, and joining me is my friend and business partner, John Congdon.
You sound so subdued tonight. Very mellow, very calm.
And don't call it a comeback. He's been here for years. Tom Ryder.
Hello.
Hey, stranger.
How's it going?
It's going. How's it going with you?
Oh, I'm exhausted every day, but going pretty good.
That's good to hear. Good to hear.
Been a bit. How have you been doing?
Good, it's funny how changing jobs twice in a year, moving houses, buying a house, renovating a house, and all of those things can really sort of build up to needing to take some time for yourself. So,
Mhm.
uh, so it's good to be back.
Good to
You
have
were missed. I can tell you that
Wow,
much.
thank you very much.
I can tell that your little server rack hasn't gotten any quieter.
No,
No.
actually, significantly louder.
Humming right along there.
Yeah, got some new hardware in there.
You're gonna have to set
and it's
the
gotten
server
closer
back
to
camera.
you
Well, you have to be able to access it and all that stuff.
while you're sitting down.
I got my first experience of server hardware since I guess 2000, 1999, and boy, things are different than they used to be.
Mm.
I'm not used to the
Yeah, most people use the cloud.
I'm not used to the remote control stuff. And all of the instructions that are just all over the whole thing. It's completely toolless inside. And so, like, I needed to do something to my RAID card, so just popped it open and pulled the blue tab, and the RAID card pops out, and it's quite interesting the progress that's been made in, I don't know, 20 years. Who'd have thought?
Who would have thought?
There
Well,
you go.
we're
You
happy
you
to
got
have
a
you
new
back,
domain
buddy.
there.
There you
New
go.
domain in Discord for you.
Go pick it
Sounds-
up before somebody else calls it. Don't buy it on Google domains, though. We'll talk about that a little later in the show.
Oh, yes. Small problem there.
John, how about you? How was your week?
Man, it has been busy. We are. I'm lucky enough to get to go on vacation next week, and first time ever going to Hawaii, so I'm super excited about that. But I have a huge project I'm right in the middle of, and I really want to try and get wrapped up before I leave, and it is kicking my butt. That's for sure. But it's going well. We're getting there. On top of that, trying to get the magazine out for June. Working really hard on that. We're trying to get the videos done from tech. Working really hard on that. It's like no time to breathe, it seems like. How about you? How's your week been?
Who you
Eric.
talking to me?
Eric,
Oh!
yes.
I'm sorry, Jonathan. You actually remember my name.
There's too many people here.
Mister, I've been trying to get on the call with you all week long.
You've tried
Haven't
one
been
time at
returning.
5
I had
o'clock.
no idea what you were doing. You could have been laying dead in a dish somewhere, or worse, you could have been learning Java. I don't know. You don't talk to me. That was horrifying. What was I supposed to tell the kids, the employees? God damn it. And let's come home, relax a little bit, do a little pair programming. But could you accommodate that? No. I've had a little pent-up frustration.
You've reached out to me once, and I happen to not have been at my desk at that point.
Shit. Don't make me screenshot our Slack. Don't do it.
I'm trying to look right now. Yep,
Yes.
one time.
It's been actually a very, very kind of productive weekend. I had a great pair programming session with my new pair programming partner, Frank, in Discord. Helped me out a little bit. We managed to I was having a lot of issues with my event sourcing and managed to figure it all out and get everything up and running again, which was nice. But
Oh, good. So you don't need me anymore? Is that the point?
well, you better hope I don't, because you're not going to be available next week. Now, are you? Are you?
I'll be available. Well, maybe not.
You need to just step lightly.
You're
all
not
right?
working
Step
on your
lightly,
trip to
John.
Hawaii?
What's that?
You're not working on your trip to Hawaii?
Of course I am. No.
That is
Your wife heard you down by the pool.
Yeah, I'm a little on the louder side. But, so yeah, that's going well. Got some weird stuff going on with the client where we're having to do this security audit that we've never had to do ourselves. Like everybody has always accepted the security audit from our payment processor, and this one is not, in making it challenging.
It's such a weird request too. It's like, and why we keep getting dragged into it, I don't quite understand.
Tom, you're not muting if you think you're muting when you're doing that. So yeah, I don't understand, and I'm trying to read through it and understand what sort of information they're looking for, so I can provide it to them and be done with this. Security audits are not my least favorite thing to do, but pretty damn close to my least favorite thing to do, because first thing, you're never right. Yeah, you're just never right, and I always feel like, if you watch the show, you might have a suspicion that I overshare. That happens from time to time. I'm not going to lie to you. So things like audits and filling out forms, things like that, I'd rather not do them. Tom, you would be happy to hear, I'm basically a project manager now. I have been rocking.
You're a nightmare.
I have been rocking the project management workflow.
Usually his nightmare. He's all about it lately, and doing a friggin' fantastic job at it.
That's exactly what I was saying, is that you get into it and you're like, oh, this isn't bad. This is kind of fun.
No.
Still don't like it.
Nope. But I've liked solving the problem of it. And I have really increased...
It wasn't the problem of project management. It was the problem of you getting the data you wanted to see.
Right. Well, us to see, right? It gave us a more holistic view of all of our projects that we're working on within PHP Architect. And it's been... I did some more tweaking this week with one of the people on the team, and I think I have it even streamlined better. We're kind of feeling it out this week, and if we agree that it's working, I'm going to start switching everybody over to it next week. But it's nice. I'm doing it all through Notion, Tom, and that's the fun part. So that's what I'm enjoying. Like, I'm enjoying tying all the blocks together and getting, like John said, getting the data we need, making it visible. My next step is to...
It's like the blocks that you give kids that are like big enough they can't swallow them.
Pretty much, yeah.
And strings.
There's way more complication to it, and the stuff that Eric's built out, I had no clue you could do in Notion. And
yeah, I probably went overboard with it. Yeah. My next big thing, if I can get the next step accomplished, I will be very happy and might not cancel our Notion subscription, because I looked at our bill. That is not a cheap service. That is a pretty damn expensive service. So I need to squeeze every piece of productivity out of it that I can. But my next big step is I needed to be able to generate reports for the client, so that the client has visibility to the progress on our end without them having to micromanage us through their ticketing system, which we've all kind of agreed on our side. It's a clunky process. Things get lost. You assign a ticket away and then you forget about it, and then it comes back and you're like, oh crap, I forgot all about this ticket. And so there's a lot of issues with it, and this new stream is very, very nice, gives us a lot of visibility. So if I can get it to generate reports, I'm going to be pretty happy. We'll see how that goes, but I'm not holding my breath. And then on top of all that, we talked about it last week, how show note links weren't posting to Discord. Well, guess what? They're not going to post this week either, because somebody, I'm not going to say it was me, it could have been John, deleted the application on the server that hosted that job and many other jobs, I might add. I just realized that tonight, and I tried to get it up and running. I thought I had it up and running. mean, I'm not getting any errors now, but for some reason, it still doesn't seem to be posting to Discord. So I'm going to have to. I'm not going to do it during the show, but yeah, I don't know, man.
Does that include the title suggestions?
No, that's actually being handled by a local bot that I run. So that's not an issue.
So if you're in our
machines.
Yeah, if you are in our Discord and you have a title suggestion throughout the show, you find something funny, or you think you're being clever, bash title space and give us the title for the show. Maybe we'll pick it, and then we have a very talented thumbnail artist that tries to make us look silly.
They do a pretty good job at it.
Well, we make it easy for them to make us look silly.
Very good job. I've been loving the titles lately.
Thank you. I'm glad you've been appreciating it. And I realized, John mentioned earlier, we're pretty close to being done with editing the videos. I feel like there's a couple of videos I'm going to want to go back through and edit again, but I'm going to get them up. We definitely have enough videos up where I realized, well, we need an interface for people to get to these videos. So I started working on that this week. And I think as soon as I get that done and I'm happy with what I see, I'm just going to go ahead and release it. And then if we have a few more videos that we need to finish up, we'll finish those up. But we need to make some updates to phptech.tv. If you've been following along, as we mentioned, this is like a living, breathing animal to us. We did it last minute, and we just kind of keep massaging it so that it does what we need it to do. But we need to
hoping over the next year to be able to make it a full-fledged thing for us moving forward. Like that's going to be our home for our videos.
Yeah. I need to get that interface up so people who attended the conference or who have purchased a virtual pass will have access to all the videos. But videos are coming along pretty well. I've been pretty happy with them. I think we're down to like a dozen. Not even a dozen. I think it's under a dozen.
Mm-hmm. I finally got all the ones I edited, uploaded. I was having the weirdest time where every time I uploaded it to the service we're using, I'd get an API error halfway through. It all started a week ago when I tried to upload 4 or 5 at a time, and it just kind of freaked out. And I don't know if I was in different tabs, but I don't know if there was some sort of API thing happening and it just got confused. I don't know.
I was wondering how you're uploading multiple. I'm like, wow, he must have like written his own API or something to do that, because I don't know how to do that.
I mean, the whole system is API driven. I could have and probably should have, but I'm like, I could just do this through the browser and not have to deal with curl uploading a file, which probably is super easy to do. It was right there. Click a couple buttons, let it go.
Exactly. But the API driven piece is what has me excited, because it's the developer in us, right? The more I read it, I'm like, oh, we can use that. Like it can dynamically create the thumbnails. And I was actually looking at other ways of streaming without using their embedded player so that we could use our own and customize it. And I think I have a pretty good solution for that. It's called a Video.js. I just started looking at it today, which allows us to
for a long time, I think.
Yeah. So that would allow us to stream the format that we need to stream. I might go with it. I don't know. First thing I got to do is just get the videos available, and then we can tweak it as much as we want down the road. That is my goal this week. I really want to say I'll have it done this weekend. Again, shout out to the team at PHP Architect. I was banging my head against my desk yesterday because I thought I understood how pivot tables worked in Laravel, and I do. I understand the basic pivot table workflow, but I'm a big UUID person. We know this is no secret. I use UUIDs all over the place, and I have stopped using the UUID as my primary key as I've said in the past, I've run into issues when I
It's
pull in
very
other
good.
packages. Yeah, I run into issues when I pull in other packages. So I just have a column in my table called UUID because I still prefer using the UUID. So when I was doing my pivot table, I wanted to associate the UUIDs. I didn't want the IDs from it. And I thought all I had to do was have the convention of the new the what do I want to say here? The table column name, after the normal pivot table stuff. And it turns out I needed even more than that. So I guess it just turned into this whole thing, and I was just
That-
missing like the last part of it.
It's interesting you bring that up. I've been trying to get a library that we've written open sourced, and I'm not sure if that's going to happen over at PhoneBurner. But you wouldn't have to store a UUID in your tables. It basically converts your ID, a number, to a UUID, and it does a lot more than that. It takes a namespace, so like a table name or some other thing, your ID, and converts it.
Mhm.
Conversely, it can take that UUID and work out the namespace and your ID.
Yeah,
So
but how does that benefit you if you're not storing the UUID?
because you can recreate it. So the whole point is when you create a link, you create the link with the UUID as an example. And then when you get that link back, you take that UUID, convert it to the ID you need, and you're good to go.
Okay, so I guess my question there would be, we don't have to solve all these problems right now, but my thing about UUIDs is that they're portable. If let's take PHP tech.tv, right? If I give my conference a UUID definition in PHP tech.tv, and I want to be able to reference that in another application somewhere else. Let's say I have an API call that I want to be able to call into PHP tech.tv to get that conference information.
Mhm.
That's where I think like the fact that UUID is consistent across all the applications, like it knows, like it doesn't change. It's
It-
always going to be that.
It's still consistent. My point being, you don't have to store it. If you're not using it as your primary key, you don't have to store it because you can create the UUID either way. If you're given the UUID, you can find the record you're looking for.
Mhm.
This,
And if
this feels
you're
like
given,
one of those stories where, like, a year from now, we're going to be like, remember that UUID generator thing? Well, Facebook got hacked.
it's
Well,
but I don't understand the point of that.
so is it still dependent on the primary key ID not changing?
Yes.
And you don't see that as a concern?
My primary keys never change, and if they do, that's an issue. I mean, if you're really concerned about that, then yes, by all means, store the UUID. I'm trying to say that 99.9% of the time, and that's a made up
Mhm.
percentage,
At least you're honest.
you could save all of that disk space you're using to store that data because you don't need to.
Hmm.
That's the only point. You're not gaining anything by storing it if you do something like this. And if you actually watch Ben Ramsey's talk that he gave at Tech on UUIDs, he talks about it. And I can't remember if it's UUID version 7 or 8. It's like the custom UUID, and that's kind of what somebody at PhoneBurner took and then built this little library that we're using. And like I said, I got to check in again. We talked about open sourcing it. I don't know if that's been done yet.
And you said that this tool was capable of fetching the namespace or the domain as well, which does help with the portability element that Eric was talking about. You can have
Right.
two records that are one or whatever, as long as it's in a different domain.
Yeah, it's just a way of separating it to generate the UID uniquely per ID I don't know. I've been using it a lot internally. We've got millions and millions of these IDs or of integer IDs, and we don't have a good way to create a UID for all of those. So we came up with this, and now we're starting to use that more and more as we share data out. Instead of sharing an integer, it's now a UID.
Hmm.
And then on top of that,
again, not knowing the package and not trying to challenge you on any of this,
Mhm.
but what you do know of it, it's not something that's a simple way to reverse engineer from the outside.
I don't think so. I'd have to look at it again.
Imagine
I'm
it's
not.
salted or something.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, even if you're talking about getting back to an ID, I don't know what security concern there is there, if any.
Hey, well, you're right. The bot isn't working because I tried to get the other bot working and I changed the token key. So you would be correct, sir. It is not working. Let me see if I can fix that real fast. You guys keep talking. Oh my gosh.
So-
I love coding. Did I mention I love coding?
The listeners don't know this. I was actually supposed to come back last week, and I had managed to make my day so terrible that I was just unable to do it. I was unable to come in and have an up attitude or anything like that. I pushed out bad code to production on a direct commit, so right straight from my PR into master, circumventing the develop pipeline, so that
On purpose or an accident?
on purpose. So
Okay.
that process is used to do what's called a solo run or a solo train, where the code that's in develop doesn't go out with yours. You're just pushing out your changes. The intention is that it can be rolled back easily. It immediately started throwing problems, errors, lots of logs, and I tried to patch it, tried to fix it, and that didn't work. Ended up
Instead of reverting, you were
yeah,
trying to
instead of
fix it.
reverting. Tried to fix it, that didn't work. We ended up pulling up artifacts of the last known good build. I didn't backport my changes from master into develop. So I actually ended up breaking the entire deployment pipeline and was working on that for about 7 hours straight on Thursday. Just trying to recover Git being a little too powerful for my hands. So that was a mess. It was an awful day. But the good news is that the ticket that caused all those problems did go out today. Everything's working. Everyone's happy, and I'm here.
Nice. I have a semi-similar story in the sense that I decided to break things today. I
Sure.
open a simple pull request. I'm working on this big feature. I'm like, you know what? I want to break this down into smaller pull requests. And I had one where I've got all of these strings littered throughout this code. And I'm like, I'm going to create a class of constants because I did find a typo in one of those strings and it was driving me nuts. Create a class of constants. And I'm going to use that everywhere. Make all of my changes, which I'd already done in the big feature, but I brought it into a new pull request. I test it, open a pull request, and I tell the person responsible, I'm like, yep, that needs to go out, or it's good to go. You tested it? Yep, I tested it. I made the phone calls. Everything's working. So it went out yesterday or last night. And of course, today there's errors. And I hear somebody saying there's an issue with inbound phone calls. I'm like, what? Like, the only thing I know that went out was this simple pull request. I immediately jump into my account in production, test, works fine. I can't recreate the issue. So I tell somebody that, and they're like, oh yeah, it's fine. A couple hours later, I'm on another phone call, and they mention that there's this issue. I'm like, wait, what? It's working for me. I go and test it again. It works. No clue what's going on. And it turns out that, yes, I tested it, but in the phone system, when you make changes to certain files, you have to go into an application and reload that data. The problem was I
Oh, like
didn't do
caching?
that. Kind of like caching. It's called the dial plan, and you reload that. I was working on my big feature that included some changes that didn't go out with this pull request. When I went to change and just do this pull request, I brought that in without reloading that data. So everything worked and continued to work today because I'm back on my branch of I'm working on this big feature and it happens to include these other changes. Man, that was a nightmare trying to figure that out. I'm like, we have 20 servers, and because I can't get it to happen on our dev server, I'm like jumping on all the servers, looking on the logs. I'm like, okay, you dialed this number. Let me go find the proper server in the logs and trying to piece together what is happening. And it took me way too long to figure it out.
You know,
Hold on. You know what can make those sort of problems less nightmarish? A good development tool. Like
Which
our
tool would that be?
friends over at PhpStorm. That does not look as good as I was hoping it would look. Damn it! I went too transparent on it. But yeah, so PhpStorm is JetBrains PhpStorm. Do we have to say JetBrains? Is that like in the contract, or can we just say PhpStorm?
I don't. Just say PhpStorm.
I feel like just saying PhpStorm works. PhpStorm has been the IDE of all your top PHP developers for years, including most of the people at PHP Architect. I think we still have a few outliers who continue to use VS Code, but they will probably get disciplined in their next review. Fortunately for them, we don't do reviews very often.
So, good.
You go ahead because you have it.
I do. PhpStorm is a cutting-edge IDE tailored for PHP and web developers. If you haven't used it before, or it's been a while since you've last tried it, now's the perfect time to check it out again, because it has received significant performance enhancements and an expanded feature set. Curious to see if it's the right fit for you? Head over to www.jetbrains.com/phpstorm to learn more and try it out with a 30-day free trial. Code smarter, not harder. Well, you're muted. Thank you, JetBrains.
Thank you.
Thank you,
PhpStorm.
JetBrains. See, now I'm thrown off.
What's
It
up?
took me 15 minutes just to get my camera working, and I'm not making the call-outs correctly. It's just totally disheveled.
I mean, it's kind of on brand, though, to be honest.
Yeah. I'm not saying anything's changed. I'm just saying it's good to be back.
I've got my wife using PhpStorm now, and she's starting to learn some of the shortcuts and how to move around. It's been good.
Now you just gotta get using Vim bindings, and you'll have
That's that is one hard thing. I sit down at her machine to help work on the magazine, and I was like, no, I hit J and K, and it's not working for me.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So in the next issue, if you see a bunch of random J's, K's, H's, and stuff in your magazine, it's me.
show links are working.
Look at you.
I'm a developer. I do this professionally. People pay me for this.
So that's what I was going to say. I was going to say it really seems like no one hates programming more than programmers.
Oh, I love it. I absolutely love it, especially when I'm working on things I like to work on. But
I love
sometimes
it.
it's a grind.
Definitely ruined my day.
They're definitely, every developer has that point in their career where it just feels like all they're doing is putting together forms and doing forms and not doing anything fun. I remember being there. It's like, okay, gee, I got to create another form.
I wouldn't mind just making a form.
Really?
Just having a 1-point ticket. Just make a form and relax.
All right. Do we want to get on to some topics, or do we have more stuff to talk about? I gotta say, now that we're bringing, since John isn't ready to get on to topics yet, I have to say that it is actually really satisfying, and I know all the jokes, and this has been a long running joke here on the show, so I can appreciate all that. But today, I saw Eric Mann email come to me from PHP internals for the latest release of 8.2, 8.2,
8.3 Alpha 2.
8.3. Yeah, maybe that's it.
Yes.
Alpha 2 is out.
It was so. Eric Mann is a regular columnist at PHP Architect. He does our security focused column, and he didn't participate in internals before this. He had thrown his hat in the ring to be a release manager, I think a couple times, and he won it this last time, which we were all very happy to see. So it was kind of cool.
You seemed upset.
I'm always upset. It's how I live. It was cool because I see an email from Eric Mann. I'm like, oh, what's this going to be? And because for a moment I thought he had submitted his article on time, and I opened it up. And I'm like, why is he talking about releases? Oh, that's right.
Eric, we love you, and we know you've been one of the ones that's been on time every month for the past few months.
It's true.
He has been one of the few.
Yes.
But yes, PHP 8.3.0 Alpha 2 is available for testing as of 9 hours ago.
I haven't even had the chance to look at what's new here.
You should do that.
Well, the feature freeze goes into effect, I think, July 16th.
Oh, Stitcher, you never fail me. Read
That
only
guy.
amendments.
That guy's always on it.
He is, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, he works at PHP Storm
Right.
now, right?
Yeah, at JetBrains, yeah, they hired him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do either of you use Blue Sky?
Talk to me about Blue Sky. I don't know anything about it. I heard there was a conversation we had about it on Mastodon a little while back, but I never followed up on it. What do you use it, and what
I do not know anything about it. I signed up for it because out of nowhere we started getting hammered with, "Hey, do you want an invitation to this?" And we got dragged into it, and I signed up, but no, I don't use it. The only reason I'm bringing it up is I saw something recently, and then somebody else on Twitter started passing out other invites for it. I'm like, is it taking off, or is it just?
It will.
So
You
my
think so?
understanding of this, and let me know if I'm wrong. The guy who created Twitter, this was supposed to be the next iteration of Twitter, and so he sold Twitter to Elon. Just basically said, "Well, I have the better Twitter already. I'm just going to release that," and released it.
Basically, yeah. So this was an internal project at Twitter that was supposed to be like the new and improved everything, and it got shelved, and Jack Dorsey sold Twitter, and basically as part of that deal got to keep Blue Sky. And once,
So far, I mean, I spent a little time on it when I signed up. I was not impressed, and I'm sure it's just going to take time to get the feeds better, but there was all sorts of weirdness in the feed. I'm like, this is I'm happier on Mastodon. It's a little more curated right now.
Yeah,
it's a little difficult to use at this time.
but so is Mastodon, to be fair, especially to your non-tech people.
If you want to add me, I'm PFY at bsky.social or .bsky.social.
What's that? Is that Mastodon?
No, that's Blue Sky's naming schema.
Oh, so you're on Blue Sky already?
I am just Blue Sky.
I'm the outlier here.
You got the invite too, didn't you? I'm on there. I just don't do anything.
No, I didn't get an invite, and I don't care. I don't need it. I'm not ready for another social media. I'm actually finding myself participating less and less on Twitter and Mastodon. And it's not even any sort of protest. It's just it's gotten so cumbersome to participate because every time I go, I'm like, okay, I need to post to Twitter because there's still where most of the eyes are, but I'd rather post to Mastodon. There's no more cross posting, so I've been trying to do other workarounds for that, and not super happy with any of them. And I just kind of at the point where I'm like, but I have to, right? PHP Architect, we have brands that need to stay visible, and so I continue to try to do it. That's one of the reasons, Tom, you weren't here last week. I don't know if you listened to the show, but I changed how our posts go out on the social media platforms to now accommodate Twitter and Mastodon because the cross posting isn't there anymore. I didn't want Mastodon not getting the posts. And so I've set up another flow. It's a little clunkier, but I haven't started to use APIs yet, which I think I can do. I just kind of making sure the flow is working, which kind of a point to bring up there, John, is Blue Sky is not on our tool yet that we use that I'm aware of. So that's something to keep an eye out for. I think when it pops up there, I'll probably want to pop on. But yeah, if you have invites, John, maybe reserve other handles if that's a thing.
I have one invite code available.
You should jump on and reserve a handle. Unless you want to give it out to Discord.
I don't know.
Yeah, you do understand what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, of course I do.
Okay.
I've had trouble with Reddit lately. You guys seen there's a bit of a Reddit meltdown going on?
We talked about this last week. The benefit of it this week, though, is there's so much more John Oliver. There's John Oliver galore. On Reddit right now.
Yeah, so
it's been fun.
This week's been interesting because the CEO, Spez, basically came out and said, I don't care. Mm-hmm. And we made a business decision and we're not going to change it because our users are complaining, which I found confusing because the users is the business. So, like, that's weird. It's not the direction I would take it if I were running a business that thrived off of its user base.
You know what? If you don't want your users complaining, maybe you need to take a look at our next sponsor. And now, a word from our sponsors. Classic Tom. Did look infected, however. You probably should have somebody look at it. Oh, hi! If you know me, you know I'm somebody who literally wears a lot of hats. I'm a podcaster, a publisher, and a coder. What I'm not is somebody who has a lot of time worrying if their site is giving their users problems. That's why I use Honeybadger. Now let's be honest, Honeybadger is a sponsor of the podcast, but that's not why I feel good talking about them. I've been using Honeybadger for years and couldn't be happier. Honeybadger has a suite of monitoring tools specialized for developers. It's the only system that combines monitoring, uptime, and cron heartbeat monitoring into a clean, fast interface. Honeybadger offers a generous, free tier, and with just 2 lines of code in about 5 minutes, you can start monitoring your application. Personally or professionally, it works for everybody. Honeybadger can help you identify and fix problems sometimes before the user even knows there's an issue with your site. And at no cost to sign up, it's literally free for peace of mind. So go over to honeybadger.io and sign up for a free account today. What's going to hurt? If somebody asks you, tell them the Ugly Squad sent you. Now I got to get back to podcasting. I got these co-hosts I need to talk to. And they are co-hosts. I don't care what anybody says. I'm the host because I'm cooler than all of them. Thank you, Honeybadger. Guys, don't be rude. Thank Honeybadger. Ugh.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Honeybadger.
Honeybadger.
I love that commercial.
I
don't care.
What you
I don't
say.
care. I don't care what you say. It's awesome.
I tried cleaning it up a little bit today because I tried removing a little bit of the echoes and everything. But I don't know. I still don't care for it too much. I'll fix it.
So earlier you said if you're in the Discord, you can participate in the conversation here.
I did.
So another good reason to join our Discord is that's the only place you can see pictures of my new puppy.
What's up with the new puppy? Look at that face. Oh my goodness.
This is Agent Cooper, Special Agent Cooper, and he is way too cute.
Does look
You
pretty cute.
have a dog, right? So this
Yeah.
is your second dog?
Yeah. So friends of ours were looking to adopt a new dog.
Hold
which
on
we
one
did.
second. Current wife, if you're still listening, don't even think about it. Okay? Don't even think about it. We're good where we're at. All right. Continue.
So they adopted a dog, and while they were there at the foster home picking up their dog, the woman who was taking care of the fosters said, "Oh, her brother's here too. He was about to be adopted, but they changed their mind." And so we immediately called up and adopted our friend's dog's brother.
How cute is that? That is
Yes.
adorable.
And they play all the time and tire each other out, and it's exactly what you would hope it would be.
Oh, that's
Aw,
my
look at that.
that's
But we
my
are
life right
cleaning
now.
up a lot of pee in the house.
Our dog is we've had to it's been a long road with her. Toast, the maniac dog. We had a lot of issues with her initially, and the way we came across her was, this weird situation. But we weren't looking for a dog, and we weren't ready for a dog. It just things happen, and we had a dog. But yeah, exactly what you said. She's gotten a lot better. We still challenge her. We're still challenged with her. I mean, one of the things. Oh my gosh, we basically got over most of the hurdles. The biggest thing she does now, she doesn't beg for food so much as she gives you that stare like you're supposed to be donating 10 cents a month to make her life better. And she just stares at you, and I can't get her to stop. But exactly what you're saying, Tom, that's our morning routine. We go to the dog park, so she plays with her friends, so she'll sleep when she gets back, and we can get some things done.
Yeah, it's definitely I have to have my office doors open all day until my wife gets home from work, because he's just driving my other dog totally crazy now. Constantly wants attentions, constantly wants to. He won't go outside on his own. Has to have his big brother there with him.
Us, yep.
So
So you say Special Agent Dale Cooper. What do you actually call the dog?
Cooper,
Coop?
or I do my best impression and go Coop.
Okay. I don't get the reference, but okay.
Twin Peaks.
Wow, that's
Okay.
You can't be old enough to remember Twin Peaks.
I watched it, the entire thing, start to finish 2 years ago for like the third time. When the new episodes came out.
Oh, I didn't even know new episodes came out.
Oh yeah. It really wraps it up into a nice noose.
Oh, I totally stopped caring about that show.
It's a very weird show, but
Something we talked about a lot, and apparently is actually happening now. Robot umpires. They're testing out robot umpires in the minor leagues, and I guess it's going well. And it works very much like we had
killed
kind of,
3 players so far.
huh?
Only killed 3 players so far.
It works a lot like we had predicted it would work, where it's making a call so fast into an earpiece into the umpire, so that the umpire can make the right call. Now, it's interesting because if you watch the way the major league does it, it will sit there and say this ball was a strike, but it's within the margin of error. I'm not sure how robot umpire works. Like if a robot umpire just says, I don't know, you call it, man, I don't care. Or if it says, 50% strike, 50% ball. I don't know what to tell you. It's kind of cool. I'm really excited to see what this does, because this has always been one of the factors of a baseball game that shouldn't be a factor. Like bad umpiring and bad strike zones should not be impacting a game. And honestly, it's not even bad strike zones. Like you learn as a ball player to respect the strike zone, whether it's good or bad. If the umpire is consistent, that's just their strike zone. So it doesn't do any good to argue. It doesn't do any good to argue balls and strikes anyway. If an umpire is consistent, you're supposed to be okay with it. But there's so much inconsistency, and that's what drives ball players, especially when you get to the major league level, absolutely bonkers. And
or you question it and then they throw you out for questioning
right,
them.
Exactly. And understand, umpires at the major league ball player in the MLB, they've gone through a very similar process as the players did. They didn't just sign up for it and got to do it. They're evaluated. They make their way through the systems, a lot of times through the same farm system as the ball players do. There are, I would say, probably the majority of umpires in MLB are good, and they really carry the game. It's these ones that aren't good that tarnish it for everybody. And I'm, for one, happy to see this. I think it's inevitable that it's going to reach MLB, but I think it's a good thing.
It's not unlike a good system admin, where if they're good at their job, you never know they're doing anything. Umpires who have a lot of attention on them are the ones that really aren't doing their job.
Yeah.
Don't agree?
No, I'm sorry. I got distracted with your servers humming behind you. I was listening to the rhythm. My God, those things are loud.
I'm working on it, okay?
You're gonna need like 3 more air conditioners back there to keep your room cool.
I've got
warm, cool. Keep your.
It's quite nice.
Keep your hot air cool. Air.
I'm trying to think, like summer's coming. Is gonna be like, I don't know, like he's gonna make it out on the other end of summer. He's gonna be cooked in his friggin' office.
The weather tried to take out some Coloradans yesterday. I'm not sure if you guys heard about that.
No.
This Colorado Springs is sort of famous for the Red Rocks concert arena, which is a big open air arena, and I guess one of the teen musicians from like One Direction or something was playing yesterday. And we had baseball-sized hail. Hospitalized 7 people and injured over 100.
So did you say that? You said it was an open air arena, right?
Yeah,
you said
yeah.
that. Yeah. So baseball-sized hail is like typically something you don't want in an open air arena?
No, usually you're against that.
Yeah. Most times, yeah. Bad thing. Wow. That's horrible. That's horrible.
Yeah. So, and we're talking like broken arms and stuff like that. It's crazy stuff.
That is terrible. I want to get through a couple more things. I know we actually started the show almost on time this week. Did you hear about last week, Tom? John totally fucked up.
Oh, really?
Oh, wait, I forgot John's still here. Damn it. Yeah,
John has something to say about that.
John and
Yeah.
I were like 15 minutes deep, and that's not an exaggeration,
It was
into a show.
a good show too. We were rolling. It was good.
Yeah, we were rolling. And I'm like, I'm looking at it. I'm like, why is nobody watching this? This is like comedy gold. This is the best opening we've had in a while. And I'm like, we had no viewers. I didn't even see like the live symbol up there. And I'm like, what is going on? And then my current wife from upstairs, I hear, "You're not streaming!" I'm like, geez, that's horrifying. And then I realized what she said. I'm like, wait, that's even worse. So yeah, we went 15. Is that an exaggeration, John? Or am I not remembering that correctly?
No, it was 15 minutes.
Okay, yeah, 15 deep minutes of not streaming. But today we started pretty much on time. So I do want to kind of push through a couple more. We talked about it in the opening, but the absolute famous Google is putting an axe to another one of their products where you're kind of like, wait, what? What's going on here?
No, they're not killing it.
They're selling it off. They've sold it
Yeah.
off. Yeah, they've sold it off. And the weird thing about it is the only reason I had gone to
They
Google
sold
domains,
what off?
Google domains. Sorry.
Okay.
So Google had their own domain service where you could go and register domains and manage domains and DNS. If you don't know what a domain is, you probably shouldn't be listening to this podcast, but it's the web address for all the family members who might be listening. And we had a domain. We actually had a pretty good domain registered through Google because Google also owned the .dev top tier domain. So .dev was owned by Google. And I think the services that we use to most of our domain management didn't have .dev. And if you remember in our previous life, our company's name was Diego Dev. And I wanted the domain diego.dev. And I couldn't get it anywhere of the services that we were using to manage our domains. I'm like, well, it's Google's domain and they own a domain service. They've got to let me register it there, right? And so I went over there and sure enough, I could register it. So I had one domain registered on Google's domain service. And it's a domain I actually don't even need anymore. But yeah, I don't know so they sold it to not Squarespace. Well, it was Squarespace, wasn't it?
Yes, it is Squarespace.
Yeah, so they sold it, which I didn't realize that was even something they were interested in getting into, was domain management.
Of course
so
it would.
thing. Why? It doesn't seem like a profitable business to me.
No, but if
be
you
wrong.
could get somebody in the door, like their whole thing is building websites for people.
Mm-hmm.
And to make it easy, say you come to us to build your website, put your domain that you want in here,
register and manage your domains all right there.
Right.
Good point. Yeah.
That's why. So I walked into Slack this morning, and there's all this hubbub, or yesterday, whenever it was, and they're talking about Google.
How old are you?
I don't know. And the big thing we use from Google that is being questioned, one, we use it incorrectly as it is Firebase.
Oh, explain.
And explain what?
You say you're not using it correctly?
Explain yourself.
So we're using it more as a pub sub versus a long-term data store.
Oh, okay.
So when I first brought it into use in the application, it was literally for the toaster notifications that come in like, hey, you've got a new message.
Mm-hmm.
And I abused Firebase to make this happen because it was easy for me. Other people built on that a little more smartly in the sense that, oh, you load a page, I'm going to give you information. We're going to store the data in our database and then use Firebase for real-time notifications so you can keep it up to date. Like, oh, that makes a lot more sense. I'm doing this completely wrong. But anyway, we're using it, not using it well. We've been talking about switching out for years, like needing to go to a real pub sub service or build our own or however it's going to be done.
Mm-hmm.
Google's known for selling off their products. We're waiting for the shoe to drop on Firebase itself, and they're already talking about, sunsetting that in favor of their newer Firestore, I think it might be called.
Yes, you're right. I
Yeah.
forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So Google is just known for screwing over people.
I can't.
It's just-
Yeah. I can't with them anymore. Oh, it's horrible.
When they went from do no harm to like,
Don't be evil.
yeah, don't be evil. They just changed it to don't be ...
Yeah. So, I mean, it's scary, but I mean, it's motivating us to do the thing we've been saying we needed to do for years, which is use a proper service. We're not using it for the right thing. One day.
Interesting.
Well, I mean, their thing is anything that's not profitable is in beta, and if they can't turn a profit on it, then they just can't kill it.
Wasn't that
Well,
the
any
joke?
that
Like,
makes-
wasn't Gmail like in beta for 10 years or something?
Oh,
I remember. Yeah, I remember Gmail was like always. It was perpetually in beta.
Well, and the crazy thing now is it's 99% of email addresses are through Gmail. It's like
Yeah.
I'd love if Google was just like, yeah, we're not doing it anymore.
Yeah.
I would too, because we pay for it and we can't use half their services, and it still drives me absolutely crazy.
Yep. All those things. All of those things.
Note to
The one
self:
thing that
use
doesn't
free
drive us
stuff.
crazy is I don't have it loaded. Never mind. Keep talking. What?
Okay, don't use free things. I still see family members that do that whole copy and paste. This Saturday, Facebook's going to start charging, and I'm not going to pay
my
for it.
God,
And if you do,
yeah.
and I'm like, they're still copying and pasting this. If you paste it, your check mark will turn blue, and you won't. It's like, stop, just stop.
You know who we don't want to stop, John?
Who do we not want to stop?
Our supporters of Patreon.
Hey,
That's a very small screen.
That's well, it's small for us, right? We can do it this way. Let's do it this way.
You think people have this full screen? on
this
there?
way?
that doesn't work.
That's better. Thank you. You.
Yes. Thank you. Patrons on Patreon.
You. And you. Not you. Not you. You're a dick.
Wait,
Yes.
have you commented on how funny it is that your wife is one of the Patreon supporters?
You know what's funny is how many Patreon supporters we have gotten after my wife. My wife is a fairly recent Patreon supporter, and we have gotten a few more. And we've gotten so many, I've had to reduce the font. So Buttery Crumpet is just a little smaller on this slide.
So
I have,
in future episodes, you're gonna have to be a certain tier to be on the patron list during the show. That's just the way it goes.
Oh, I like that idea.
Do you not
Yeah.
watch YouTube videos at all?
They get
I
acknowledged.
really don't.
The people who do Patreon related stuff on YouTube, they have like a 10-minute scroll after their video is over.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Well, we used to do that.
and they're
right?
and they're scrolling fast, like.
Oh, we got that, don't we? Here. I don't know how up to date this thing is, but that's not fast. That's not bad. You should probably have that running. I don't know. All right, let's thank
Usually
you,
do.
supporters on Patreon. We do appreciate you.
Definitely.
Yeah. So, the other thing is, I don't know if you guys snuck in and saw my Trello board, but have you guys taken a look at the Stack Overflow Developer Survey
Only
for
because of the clip you
2023?
posted, which I'm surprised you didn't talk about.
I haven't at all.
Oh, I forgot about that, John. That's I'm like, what are you talking about, dude? Yeah. You're right. I did. The Primeagen was reviewing it. Yeah, that's right.
I mean, he did make us sound very childish when him and his old buddy
That's fair.
in the clip you pulled.
Him and his little buddy.
Him and his little buddy were like they were like the bullies on the playground making fun of PHPers.
Yeah, most of them do. Let me make this a little bigger. So not a whole. We kind of go over this every year, and I mean, not a whole lot surprises me on it. This one, I don't remember it being the trend. I was a little surprised by how many people claim to have degrees now. Then I don't seem to remember it that way. Maybe it's always been like that, but a lot of BAs out there. That seems to be a thing.
That would make sense. I mean, starting around our generation, college became very like you have to go to college, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure that you've got a good period of time where those kids are just coming out of school and they're going to drive that up, where now it's more about, do you really need to go to college? I don't know.
Right. So this is always the one that gets me, and this is why I don't understand where people come off saying, PHP is dying. We point this out every time, but yes, JavaScript and HTML are top. I don't think either one of them should be on here, but most definitely not HTML. But fine, HTML, CSS. You want to call it a programming language?
JavaScript nowadays, yes. I mean, if you watch people actually write code in there, they are doing real development. They're not making forms work. They are doing so much more than ever before.
You just like to make me look bad, don't you, Jonathan?
No,
we're back on Jonathan. Yeah, you do. No, yeah, I get you. And TypeScript, like, I always equate TypeScript to JavaScript. Like
it is JavaScript.
Right. It's just like
it compiles down to JavaScript.
It's okay. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So the fact that those three are on there and they're where they're at in the scope of things, whatever.
I think the other hard part is when they ask the question, it's a check all that apply. So it's not like
right.
Obviously, they add up to more than 100%. So it should be, what is your go-to language? Would be a good question.
Yeah, but my point that I always make on this, and everybody who says PHP is dead, is with the exception of those, from where I sit, the first web technology out there is PHP. Yes, can you write, are there Python frameworks you can write web pages in? Yeah, but I can guarantee you 48.00% of the Python people responding to this survey aren't writing web pages in Python.
Maybe they're doing DevOps, right? They're writing scripts like that.
Yeah, and I can guarantee half of the C# that's there is people writing apps that load PHP generated pages.
True.
and same thing with Java, right? Is very similar. You can write web app in Java, but you're not. Most people are not.
Yeah. There's what's IBM's WebSphere out there, and there's a few out there. Yeah, I still feel like PHP is accessible. I don't get the whole PHP is dead, especially when you start looking. Ruby's at 6%, like less than half of what PHP is.
Buttery, I started with Perl CGI,
and I can tell you, I mean, just looking at this list, like assembly is not making up 5% of all developers out there. somebody's just listing all of the languages that they've used at some time.
Exactly, right? Like they wrote one script in college using Perl, and so they're oh yeah, I know Perl. Click.
Yeah.
Pearl's
And-
awesome.
And
I
if
wanna
you're
go back
writing
to Pearl.
assembly, you're not using JetBrains. I don't know why you're getting the survey.
Because
this
it's the
isn't JetBrains.
check all that apply. Yeah, this is Stack Overflow.
This is Stack Overflow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're writing
it-
assembly, you're definitely using Stack Overflow.
That's a good point. Yeah.
But it's not. Do you know assembly, or could you hack a little something together? You're not doing that day in and day out.
Look how low my CouchDB is. I don't understand why more people don't embrace CouchDB.
Firebird is higher than CouchDB.
Well, up until they discontinue it, yeah.
Firebird, the email client?
I don't
No,
know what Firebird is.
Firebird.
That's not Firestore. I don't know what
You're
Firebird
right.
is.
You're right. I'm sorry.
I'm pretty
Didn't
sure
we do
Firebird's
something
the
in it?
email client.
Didn't we do Influx?
Yeah, we
Didn't
did.
we have a client with Influx? Yeah, Influx is actually a very interesting database. I thought it was pretty cool, but
it's
it's
a
very
time series database.
yeah, very niche. Yeah, there's your Firestore right there.
Yeah,
Firebase.
you've got 6% of people using Bigtable or Big Data, BigQuery, I'm sorry, which is the infinitely
I-
logging non-relational database.
Have I complained about that before? Big data with
Yeah.
my kids running club.
Yeah. We talked.
Okay,
We had.
okay.
I don't know if Tom was on.
I don't
but yeah,
think
we had
I've
a
heard
long
this.
conversation.
Is there a kid named Big Data in your running club?
Yeah,
It's just a real
No.
asshole.
schools normally work off of volunteers, right? And the person running the running club at my kids' elementary school, when she started running it, as kids would do a lap, they'd get a popsicle stick, and that's how they would keep track of how many laps they ran. She wanted to improve that. There was another dad there who had a kid at the school who built a system for them, which is great, except he's using a QR scanner on a device that uses Google to Sheets. So you scan the QR code, it puts the data on a Google Sheet. He has locked that thing down so tight. And then he takes that data, and I'm not exactly sure what he does with it, but pulls it out of there and has a bunch of rules that, like, he needs the lat longitude to make sure that you're not scanning somebody's barcode outside of the track. It's like,
You're
What?
kidding me. You didn't
And-
share that part.
and the person that is running this club told him, hey, let John have access to this because, your kid graduates next year. You're not going to be around. His wife's going to be doing the running club. Why don't you let him help with the technology? And he has fought every step of the way. And when there's been issues and I'm like, hey, let me help, he's like, because he had already told her he was too busy. He couldn't fix the data because somebody had turned off geolocation on one of the devices. And I'm like,
boy.
let me get in there. He goes, well, with all due respect, it's a little more complicated than just getting in there. I'm like, okay, in my day-to-day job, I am pretty good at debugging, like jumping into legacy applications. Like I can figure this out. Just let me know. He ends up spending supposedly the next 6 hours fixing data. I'm like, wait, isn't all this data in a Google Sheet? Can't I just put random latitude, longitude into all of these things and be okay? Like, well, where is the actual problem here? When I first asked to have access to it, he's like, do you have experience with big data? I'm like, big data? I've got
Don't lose scope of this,
I-
Tom. We're talking about elementary school kids.
Yeah,
keeping
running
track
club.
of laps. I'm
under,
like,
under 100 people.
no, a few hundred kids, but each lap they run, I'm like, it depends on what you mean by big data. I've got databases that have millions and millions of records that I manage, so I have some experience. What are you talking about? and he said something about some technologies. I'm like, I mean, I use things like Firebase, and like I have a little more. And then he ghosts me like for a long time. Doesn't respond to anything I say. I'm like, I
know the
just want to
feeling.
help.
I know the feeling, John. I got ghosted this week.
Honestly, it just sounds like he's
I
heard the
responded to you.
podcast. Maybe he's a listener and doesn't trust you.
Eric asked me at 2:00, and meanwhile I'm heads down in a problem. I come up for at 5:00 and I see his message. I'm like, oh, I guess I didn't have time. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we made those arrangements the day before, but yeah, no, I'll let it slide. It's fine.
Thanks. You should.
That's all right. When you get back from vacation, you see how much money I spent because I'm upgrading my office while you're gone.
Cool.
And I need to buy some Amazon stuff.
Yeah, Prime Day's coming.
Dude,
Oh, is it?
Oh,
Maybe I
yeah.
need to wait. When's Prime Day?
it doesn't get you anything. What are you talking about?
17th.
Doesn't? Why does everybody talk about it then?
I
don't know.
I logged in and I got a notification from Amazon that Prime Day was coming and that I could set alerts for things I had recently looked at, and it would tell me if that went on sale during Prime Day. So I like that.
Interesting. Dude,
Maybe we should keep an eye out for hard drives for tech next year. Oh, we didn't talk about tech. We're running long. You want to talk
I
about
don't
tech?
care. What do you want to talk about tech?
That we started the RFP process with hotels.
We have. We've gotten some RFPs, haven't we?
Have we got multiple? I saw one.
Well, yeah, one.
And they're like, yeah, it looks like you're going to spend double what you said you were going to spend. Do you just need a minimum in the contract, but you're okay spending more? Like, no.
It's funny because I didn't even look at it. I'm like, I'm not even going to look at these. I got too much going on.
I didn't look at the response other than the email that they sent. And that's what they said, because we said, based on last year, here's about what we're expecting to spend in food and beverage. And they're like, that response was, yeah, you're going to spend a lot more with us. All right. Did you only need that contractually?
Really?
Yeah, it was hilarious. Just the way it was worded made me laugh.
Yeah, you're asking for Wi-Fi. That starts at $250,000.
No, that's about right. That's what we were getting. John's got a little hack for that, which worked out pretty well for us. I'm not complaining.
Yeah, I wonder if they're going to keep that around next year.
No, they won't. You've been flagged. You've been flagged in some system, John.
Can I abuse that again?
Oh,
I was willing to pay for it. They said no.
Yeah.
Oh, here's what they said. I understand the food and beverage minimum within the proposal is much higher than your requested minimum with the RFP. So basically, they came back to us with a much higher number. Based on your needs of a daily lunch and beverage for this many people for 3 days, I estimate you will spend around X. If you need a lower food and beverage minimum for contractual purposes, but understand you will actualize higher, this can be arranged.
What the fuck does that mean?
It means they think they're talking to somebody who doesn't write the checks. They think they're talking to somebody who goes to somebody who writes the checks, will get a check written, get a commitment, get the wheels turning, and then realize, we need more money.
No, your minimum is 10,000, but you're actually going to spend 40,000. Are you okay with that?
Yeah. It's like, do you just want us to put 10,000 in the contract, and you and I understand it's going to be 40?
Hint, hint. Wink, wink.
That's
nudge.
fraudulent.
Yeah. Yep. You spent a lot of money putting on a conference. A lot of money very quickly.
That number I just said was way low. I was just
Yeah. I wish that's what it was. Well, I wish that's what we were spending. I would actually feel good about it. No, it is not that.
No, I definitely looking at the spread and the lunch areas. I knew that wasn't it.
Yeah. What? So we haven't gotten your feedback from Tech, Tom. What did you think? I mean, you've been to a previous Tech, so from that side of the fence, did it feel like it was all part of the same conference? Like it does? Did it feel good, or did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I had a great time. I missed some of the talks that I really wanted to see, either because I was working at the time or because there was another talk I wanted to see at the time. Um, but yeah, a lot of really good information. It felt like tech.
It felt like Tech. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like I felt like if I hadn't been the person running it, I still would have felt like it feels like a Tech. Like we didn't do anything crazy. It wasn't too off the rails. Everything went. It seemed like we had done that more than one time before, and I felt
Yes,
really good about that. I was very happy.
it was very well staffed as well. You guys had all of the uh, all of the PHP architect team running everything in each room and getting everyone set up, and it went off very smoothly from what I saw.
Thank you. Yes, we were happy with it. Okay, I think we're at a good spot to break. Oh, I didn't mention. Did you see my new on air?
I
Site?
did.
I got,
Usually
I
that
got that
goes
for Father's
outside
Day.
the room.
Yeah, I got it for Father's Day. I thought it would be a cool little prop. So that's where it's at. What's really cool is
So your
I
kids
could
love that you do this stuff.
I couldn't use it. I don't know if I shared this with you, John, but like this thing was so bright. And Frank, PHP architect team member Frank, who we were pair programming with, had given me a suggestion. He's like, "Hey, you should put a what's it called? Oh, I forgot what it's called now. Rotor? I forget. Like a little dial." He asked me. He goes, "Is it really a fluorescent sign or is it LED bulbs?" And I look at him like, "Yeah, it's LED bulbs." He goes, "Oh yeah, put I think it's a rotor or something on it. And you can adjust the wattage that's going through to it." I'm like,
Oh,
"Really?"
potentiometer.
That's it, potentiometer. Good call there,
Tom.
Tom. Yeah, Thomas. So I got one. I had one in a kit, and I'm like, okay, I just have to get this where I have a USB in and USB out. And then of course, I'm overthinking it. So I'm like, well, let me check Amazon. I bet you somebody like already sells one. They're like $6. I'm like, all right, let me get that. And it works. It works really well. So I was very happy to be able to use it on the show. I'm liking it a lot.
You brought up the potentiometer, which is making me think Raspberry Pi. I got my kids started doing Raspberry Pi work, where he actually started hooking things up to a breadboard. It was so much fun just hanging out with him. He used Scratch to create a traffic light with LEDs.
Oh, that's so
Nice.
cool.
The all the resistors that came with this kit that I have are so hard to see the individual colors. It's like
Uh-huh.
all 3 or 4 different versions look like they're the same freaking value based on the paintings on them. It's like so
That's when you
annoying.
buy a magnifying glass.
It's
Comes your
not even a
friend.
magnifying glass. I don't know. But anyway, it was fun.
That's funny because you had mentioned getting. So I assume this was the birthday gift, or
Yeah.
right?
Gave it to him.
So you had mentioned that, and it had got me. It had me reminiscing. When I was a kid, I got this thing from Radio Shack where you hooked up all
the
these
the little
wires.
springs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that thing, man.
I gave him one. He uses that. He's played with
Oh,
that
really?
a lot.
They
Yeah.
still make those?
Not Radio Shack, but yeah. There's all sorts of.
Okay.
Yeah, like now they come with these little discs with where you can launch little discs up in the air and ring bells and do all sorts of fun stuff. Yeah.
Nice, very nice. Yeah, I'm glad he's getting into that. How did the camp out go? So John and I actually got to see each other last week for a short
Oh
amount
yeah,
of
it
time.
was last Friday, wasn't it?
Last
Nice.
Friday, yeah, we went to I just realized this is a rare show of recent where I'm not actually wearing a hat. Look at that.
Mhm.
I just have my short hair. But we got to go to a minor league ball game, which happens to be the minor league team that's right down the street from where I'm at. So it was very convenient for me. And I got to see the whole family. It was good to see the wife there, John. Your current wife, that is. It was good to see.
I wish we could have hung out more. The funny thing is, you sat where you sat was right behind where our seats were last year.
Well, I
this
remember
year-
that.
This year, we're completely on the other side of the field.
Right. Because I remember you told me and I looked it up. I'm like, oh, this is where they sat last year. So I got the ticket, and because that's where the home team was last year.
Mhm.
And the moment I sat down and I looked across the field, I'm like, wait a minute, the home team's over there now. It's like,
Well,
oh, crap.
home team is usually on the first base side. Now that you say that, so it's weird that they were over there.
I don't think that's true. I
Really?
don't. Yeah, I used to think that, and it's I see it too frequently where that's not the case. So the real thing where the home team sits is they sit in the dugout that gets the most shade is where they sit. So depending on how the field is positioned, they sit in the dugout that gets the most shade. So maybe that's typically the first base side, but it's not a solid all the time. Not like the uniform. So in baseball, the people wearing the lighter colors, like the white, they're always the home team, and gray pants or darker colors are the visitors. I always love that about baseball. You can always figure out if your team was home or away by looking at their uniform. But yes, we're losing Tom. We talked too much baseball, and Tom is already.
You were asking about the camp out. I'll finish it off with that.
Do that.
So it was a late game. Last year was much earlier. This year the game didn't end until like almost 9 o'clock.
I think it was like 10, wasn't it?
And then we have to leave the stadium, move our car from where we were parked into a closer parking spot, get back in line to get back into the stadium. And then you can go, once you're back in, you can go down, set up your tent in the outfield, which is great. People setting up. And then they start making announcements. They're going to start the movie. And so much fun. Like my kids wanted to play some catch. So we get out there and we're throwing the ball around a little bit after getting the tent set up. Then they start the movie. My older kid, I mean, they both set up ready to watch. The younger one and I fell asleep. Like, completely out.
Before the movie started?
No. Like probably 30 minutes into the movie, we're both out. All of a sudden it's midnight. My wife's waking us up and she's like, the movie's over. She was leaving. She came home with friends that weren't staying the night. And I moved the kids into the tent and we slept. Woke up the next morning, played some more catch, threw a frisbee around. It was a ton of fun.
Did they rush you out? I know you were concerned about how quickly they were going to rush you out.
So I was off in the time. They started serving breakfast at 7, and then you had to be off the field at 8. Everyone started waking up around 6:30.
That was cool. They fed you guys too, huh?
Well, we went somewhere else. We went and got breakfast together because they didn't really have options for me. But yeah, it was. But yeah, everyone else had a blast. They had a breakfast. I think they had French toast and eggs and stuff. And yeah, it was really nice.
Breakfast steaks for everybody.
We'll do it again.
Did any of the players hang out? Did you guys get to meet any of the players?
No, I don't. They may have. We did not.
How? Like that's always been the thing. Like if I had ever played in minor league baseball, I would have been that guy who just hung out for everything and just say hi to people.
They very well may have, and we just weren't in the right spot at the right time. I don't know.
Gotcha. All right. So now we are running along. Where are we at on time? Wow,
hour and a half.
Super long. Hour and a half.
Every time. This is my fault. I take the blame for that one.
Nah, it's good, man. It's all good. I'm enjoying it. It was a good show. Good talk. I mean, John and I the few shows that we did without you, Tom, I mean, we did a solid hour plus, like just the two of us just talking like nonstop. So
It was you write the song for next year, and we'll try and make it happen.
oh, I love that. I love that idea. Yeah, for sure. Maybe that needs to be the theme for the whole conference. Take me out to the ball game or something.
Do you
We'll work
have
on
a
it.
location decided on for next year?
No.
No, we're getting hotels. So nothing is 100%. We're getting close. The survey was very helpful as far as narrowing things down.
We have an idea of dates of when we want to host it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll let you guys know as soon as we start locking this stuff down. We just don't want to put stuff out there and then have to move stuff around and have to tell you guys. We're not doing it to be jerks and teasing it. We got to get the stuff locked down first and get commitments before we start sharing things.
So
All right.
if it's Austin, Texas, then you'd be like, no, it's not Austin.
Did you hear that story?
No.
You were there, weren't you?
I don't think he was there.
Oh no, you weren't there. That you're right. Never mind. I thought you did that in the closing. You did not.
I almost got shot. Ian, go ahead. You tell it, John.
Yeah.
You're better at it.
So we're sitting in
I
the
need to
registration.
things up anyways.
Yeah,
Let's put it in the after show. If you want to hear
No,
it.
it's fine.
No.
No, let's share it. Let's share it. Go ahead. I got stuff to do anyways.
Yeah, we're sitting in the registration area with Ian Littman, who's one of the organizers of Longhorn PHP.
Right.
And he's asking us questions throughout the conference, like how many people are here, blah blah blah. And at one point, we're all in there, and he's like, "So where are you going to host next year?" And without missing a beat, Eric's like, "Austin," which is where Longhorn PHP is at.
Yeah.
And
I can feel his eyes burning a hole. into my
Eric
head.
never looked up. He's on his iPad doing something. He says it and never looks up at him. It's hilarious.
Oh man.
It was one of my finer moments.
Ian, we love you.
We do. I wouldn't have done it if we didn't love you, Ian.
And we will see you in November.
We will. We are actually sponsoring. We're one of the sponsors of.
We are
what
the
we,
first
gold?
Sponsor.
Are we gold? We're gold, right?
No, we got to be diamond.
I think they discovered a new element to describe our level of sponsorship.
We are the ugly sponsor.
We always are.
Okay, that's it. I'm calling it. We need to put this puppy to rest. Episode 340 of PHP Ugly is in the books. I'm Eric.
I'm John.
I'm Tom.
Keep it
Keep it ugly.
1, 2, 1, 2. Coming off the top, y'all know how we do. Listen, I'ma drop a freestyle you can cherish. I'ma send a shout out to the
now
host
hearing
named
that is
Eric.
loud. I got the
he's
other
never
ones
on some
down
average
so
shit.
low.
You know, Eric, he stays loud and passionate. I'm about to break it down for y'all with the clever song. Yo, shout the host name Thomas, cause he's never wrong. Yo, shout to John. You know that he's smart and quiet, unlike my freestyles, which cause a riot. I'm about to do it like this, cause the people love me. Shouts out to PHP, the ugly. It's called ugly cause it's not professional, but I'm about to come through and bless it with style. So let's do it when I'm spitting. I perfume
Get your
the
title
room.
suggestions
Yo, the
in.
segment of the show
Fill
is
the pot
called
here.
Doom and Gloom. That came from Thomas. Yeah, can nobody go beyond this? I get the mic and then I'm about to keep it like a promise. Yeah, and y'all know we fill them up with anguish. We talking about the PHP, the programming language. About to break it down, no exaggeration. What do y'all do for a living? Web applications. Okay, I can dig it. My words spray tight. They getting together on the Thursday nights. Yeah, when it comes to rhyming, you can call me the new dude. I spew true lyrics while y'all broadcast on YouTube. So let's get it. You know my lyrics are major. All up in the comments, they got plenty of haters, but they doing what they doing. Keep it ugly. We ending every show with the saying it's lovely. Let's go. Hey, shout out to y'all. Peace to the whole squad, man. Hope your channel is doing real well on YouTube. Hope you guys are having fun. And it was an honor and blessing to do this little custom freestyle for y'all. Hope you enjoy. Stay up. Yeah. Come on.
All right. Oh, I can. Let me. I want to get our pretzel going here. I'm doing pretzel. Doing pretzel now. Um, thing. I gotta stop so much. I do a lot. Mm,
You don't hate your twin. Stop it.
Arch. Where's my Arch browser? Oh, Pretzel Rocks. Let's find a Pretzel Rock station we can listen to while
I'm
we do this.
taking my paragliding gear to Hawaii with me.
Are you kidding me?
And
That's not that's something you can just like do a check bag on?
yep, throw it in the plane. Let's go.
Do
There's
you have
a,
spots already scoped out?
there's a spot. It's an hour away from where we're staying. I have to be on the ground by 10 o'clock, so get a few flights in.
I had discussed that with a few friends of mine, and they all agreed you probably shouldn't take like parachute equipment in as a carry-on.
Not as a
It's just
it's
more
not a parachute.
it's
It's not a parachute. I mean, I
Well,
do have a
if you were-
parachute
if you
in
were
it.
to fully deploy it in the middle of an airport, would somebody think, "Why's that guy got a parachute?"
I do have
Oh,
a parachute inside of it, so I guess that counts.
What do we got
No.
going on here? What's happening? Where Pretzel Rocks is not rocking. They are down, like down hard.
I don't know.
Have we checked AWS status?
I don't have it.
Did you guys have any trouble with AWS last week?
Not that I can
No.
think of.
We were down.
Really?
Well, our
What? I was gonna say, what part of the service? What was down?
yeah, our deployment pipeline was down, so it was something about the deployment pipeline load balancer wasn't running at all.
Come on, let's go. Pretzel, you're killing me here, man. I want a refund. Yeah, Pretzel is down.
Really?
Like none of the stations are loading. None of the, yeah. Yep.
Oh.
Well, that's not good. Man, we just play the music. Good call. Good call there.
Just a little something while I was waiting for you to get that set up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So new puppy. You gotta give it. Yeah, A-Wood says you gotta give the puppy a special agent. Okay, you gave the puppy a title already.
Oh yeah, no, he's already Special Agent Dale Cooper.
Yeah. Gotta fix our PhpStorm. Our little splash. I was trying to be cute. I realized that you couldn't see us when we were doing the PhpStorm bit. And I just like, all right, let me put some transparency on here and try to get a little cuter with it, and went sideways on me.
It didn't fly.
No.
Oh, it's good to be back. I am
I
exhausted.
got a station playing. I don't know how good it's going to be. Let me see. Gotta get that Q. What is it called? QT, right? QJ. QJack? QJack.
Don't know what you're
QJack
talking about.
control. Sean knows what I'm saying.
Yeah, QJack control. My annoyance with QJack control is I tried using it today to share my Chrome audio, but as soon as Chrome stops playing audio, it goes away. It's like, well, that doesn't help me.
Yeah. Well, that's like right now. I have two Chromes. I don't know which one I should be doing here. So all of this is just not good for me. Where's my mic at? Oh, here we go. Okay, there's my input. Let me try this. You guys tell me if you hear anything. I don't know if you guys can hear it.
I
Yep,
hear
we hear it. That's loud.
Okay. Is it?
Yeah.
Well, hold on. I gotta kill that one. How do you stop it? Let me turn it
It's
down.
permanent now.
I can barely hear it.
It's loud.
I mean, I'm down to 5%. That's 5%.
That's good.
That's good. All right. I mean, I can't honestly go much lower. Yeah, John finally showed me how to redirect stuff. Current wife is posting water polo pictures. And my kid getting punched in the face. That's awesome.
SoCal kid, you're not supposed to have the cool kid emoji when you say you've gotten concussions.
Whoa, what just happened?
I don't know.
Community updates. You guys don't see this. Oh, you do see the community updates.
Yeah.
God
Yeah.
damn it. Why did it? Like, that was random as hell. 10:44 on the Thursday night. You're just gonna toss in that community. They're just looking. They're like, oh, PHP Ugly is live. Let's throw a community update out there. Let's get some free. Yeah, that's right. Knock him down. Giant Michael's leaving me alone. What did I miss? Oh, that's my. Is that my kid? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Maybe I'll pay a little bit more attention to your patients. All right. I need to get your. Do we have titles? Let's get some titles here, people. Let me see. Here. Can't use that. Right here. Warp drive. Oh, you want to hear something funny? I got Pretzel working via a app image version that I had deployed, right? When I run this, I don't know why, I can't explain it to you, but when I run it, my T key doesn't work anymore on my keyboard. I don't know what's doing it. I honestly cannot explain.
Sounds
it.
like you know exactly what's doing it. The app image.
Yeah, it's totally the app image. Now I have to kill it and come on. I got it working in the app image. One of you guys got to work here. Yeah, all right, here we go. I'll get it going again here. Here we go.
Welcome to PHP Ec 2023. What
am I doing? I need to take. How did I do this? Take it over here. Boop. All right. It's weird. It's playing. Oh, I do see it. I do see the player. Let's get something else playing. You listen to that. Is that loud or low or what?
That's low.
That's good.
Hey,
How
cool.
bad is the server noise?
Bad. I mean, it's a constant hum. Like you can
So-
definitely hear the fan spinning.
But I don't think that's the server.
It's definitely when you open the door, it gets louder.
I think that's the switch. I think the switch has got a bad fan.
I don't know. It definitely seems.
Well, we can't tell the difference between equipment. All I know is it's coming from
Well, here
your room.
you're listening, right?
Well,
I
no,
got
we got
music
music
playing
now. Oh yeah, definitely
Yeah,
loud.
that's way we can hear it over the music.
Okay. So keep listening.
Oh, well, let me pause the music. Hold on. All right, go ahead. Are
we
supposed to be
listening?
hearing a change?
Better?
No.
Yeah. So the server's off now.
Okay. Well,
That's just
something.
that's the stupid switch I have that has a bad fan.
Okay. Well, then it's the stupid switch.
Well, I
It's
got
something from your server rack that we didn't.
Yes. I got to replace it. All right. Can we put that as an expense?
I was talking about Toast, right, and how she begs for food. For the current wife and I to be able to
Good night,
eat,
A Woods.
maybe it was
Good night, A Woods.
for the current wife and I to be able to eat, we have to prepare a meal for her and put it in one of those slow feed
Oh yeah.
so that they slow down. And it used to work really well when she was younger, and now she's learned how to like get everything out, and her tongue is like 4 feet long, and she gets like a lizard. So I need to come up with. I'm seriously considering like gluing that thing onto my Roomba, turning the Roomba on, and making her chase it around and try to eat out of the slow feeder because she finishes it like 5 minutes, and like meanwhile the current wife and I are like gobbling our food down so we don't have to put up with it.
Yeah, that's
You
one
put
of
the
the
dog
nice things.
outside while you eat, right?
She
Could do that.
doesn't. It like in Tom's scenario, she doesn't do the outside by herself. Like she wants somebody with her most of the times. She does this lizard lounging now occasionally. Like when the sun's out and she's tired, she'll go out there and lay in the sun and doze off. And for whatever reason, she's fine with that. But for the most part, if you don't walk out behind her, she comes back and starts scratching at the door.
Oh man, I feel so lucky. I open the door, my dogs just run out, and they'll play out there for a while.
Don't see him for
Oh,
a week.
I wish that was the case. So when we
And then
came to the game, we had I probably shouldn't share this. Never mind. I'm not going to share it
Right.
on the stream.
My my dogs are always on high alert, and I go out there sometime last week, and my little dog is just yiping. Like I'm like, what is going on? I run out there. My bigger dog has got a squirrel through the fence. Like,
Oh!
squirrel.
Ow!
He's just got like the belly of the squirrel and just clamped. And I'm like, let go, like trying to get, no matter what I did, the dog just wouldn't let go. I'm trying to pry his jaws open off of the squirrel, and I couldn't move him. He's just locked on. I finally like lifted which my wife had told me she had done like 2 weeks prior. Lift the dog up, and it gets him in a weird position where he finally lets go. And then all of a sudden, the squirrel just kind of scampers away. And then,
Yeah, you got to lift him by the legs.
yeah. So, but then the squirrel, because I've got my fence and then like chicken wire on the outside trying to keep rabbits out, he was stuck between the two. So as soon as I got my dog off him,
gotcha.
I get my dog off him. Now the squirrel's back in my yard. And I'm like, so then I grab my dog's collar. Like, no, stay here. Let the squirrel get away. It scampered away. I don't know how long it survived. I didn't see guts or anything.
I tell you what, A Woods is the title king.
Yes.
Every freaking week, it's this guy
Setting the bar for all of you. We need titles from other people.
So somebody's got to knock A Woods off his throne because I'm about to.
We can say that because he went to bed.
Yeah.
He won't come back and rewatch the show, so we can talk smack right now.
All right, you guys call it. It's 3 men in a server, which is A Woods.
How about don't tell us who the author is?
Okay. 3 men in a server. I'm not going to tell you who did that one. UmpireGPT in the minors, which I'd probably just go with UmpireGPT.
Yeah, I would drop the in the minors part.
Yeah, and Ugly Baseball. And then there's mine, Don't Call It a Comeback.
They're all the same person except for yours.
I like
Yes,
Umpire
they are.
GPT.
I mean, did you want me to? I didn't say they wouldn't be. Why is
Right,
this
Umpire
a water
GPT
polo?
it is.
Why isn't this a water polo podcast? By the way, you wonder why you don't get selected. Umpire GPT. There you go. Thumbnail creator. Thumbnail it.
2 hours of raw podcast action. I mean, come on.
How are you seeing them? Oh, you're scrolling back through Discord?
It was literally a couple minutes ago.
I don't know. I'm looking at my terminal, man. I'm not looking at Discord.
Oh.
All right, Umpire GPT it is. I don't know whose face. How you're gonna figure out our face?
That's not our job.
No, it's not. Did you see Tom on last week's thumbnail?
Yep, he made it into the little background.
I did not
He's
see
stomping
that.
grapes. Yeah, you're stomping grapes in the background. You're like a Where's Waldo situation. Back off the creative process.
What was it? That 2 men whine for an hour?
Yeah, 2 old guys whine for a while.
Yeah.
Had to throw the old in there, huh?
Mm-hmm. Even installed another application to age us as if we didn't look old enough already.
Saw that. Thought it was hilarious.
I'm fine with being called old.
That's because you're not old yet.
Man, I stretched the other morning after I got out of bed and pulled a muscle in my neck and ruined my whole day.
You want to hear something weird? I'll share this with the after show listeners. If you're listening to the show right now, we always seem to get a few stragglers in about this time. But if you're listening to the show is actually over. This is just kind of like the after party hangout, behind the scenes, ugly after dark. If you wouldn't. Before I went to tech, I had scheduled a doctor's appointment for when I got back from tech, right? Because I have to go to the doctor on a fairly regular basis. And I scheduled this appointment. Well, as it turned out, the current wife had mentioned something to me. I had hernias before. So if you don't know my history, I had a lot of medical problems. Not a lot. I had a period in my life where medical issues was a big thing. Had a lot of surgeries. One of the surgeries I had actually had them. I mean, they basically gutted me like a fish from stem to stern. I mean, like my whole stomach and everything. They pulled out all my insides to get to this whole tumor situation. But so the current wife looked at me and she goes, "I think you have a hernia." And I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, I'm not feeling great, but I have a doctor's appointment when we get back, so I'll bring that up. And then I was looking at the pictures from tech, and I'm like, I see how my belly is.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I'm a big guy, but like that's not looking right. And so I asked the doc about it because I physically don't feel. I wasn't physically feeling well. I wasn't feeling sick. I was feeling like sore, like uncomfortable. And he told me that because of that surgery, my abdominal muscle isn't doing its job anymore. Like it's not strong enough to do its job. So that's what I'm feeling. Is like I'm feeling that abdominal muscle like starts. So I don't actually have a hernia. It's not. He called it something else. I forgot what he called it, but it is a bulge. And it's like the abdominal muscle like pulling apart again. And so I basically have to he's like, when it gets bad, just wear a girdle. Basically, I wear a girdle, and I feel so much better. But it was like the weirdest thing. I'm like, I looked at the pictures. I'm like, what is going on with my stomach? Like, I don't think about it because I don't see myself from that angle on a regular basis. And I saw those pictures. I'm like, wow, there's like something wrong there. Why don't you guys tell me that? You guys are dicks.
I didn't notice.
You didn't notice my belly?
Not until you pointed it out in that picture.
Yeah.
I still didn't notice it.
Yeah. So it's funny. I got this brace. I mean, it's a girl. You call it whatever it is. It's freaking, but it's meant to hold my, basically take the stress off my abdomen. And man, I felt so much better. And I can tell, like, I'm not self-conscious about it. It's just not like a comfortable thing to wear, like to have to put it on in the morning. But so I won't wear it for a while. Like, I'll start to feel better, then I won't wear it, and then eventually I start to feel bad again, and then I'll put it back on for a few days. But yeah, it's like my body is literally falling apart. It's like so you talked about not feeling bad about getting old. I love every year I get to live now. Like, every year older I get is such a freaking accomplishment. Like, I'm not supposed to be here. And so I'm so ecstatic. I don't care. I can 90 years old. I'm going to be proud to be 90 years old. I'm proud of how old I am now. I don't know what that number is. I think it's 54. 54 sounds right. Oh, I'm going with 54. Yeah, 54 is probably what I am.
Well, stay away from any homemade submarines.
Oh, dude. Yeah, that was unfortunate. I was going to make a honey badger crack with that, and I'm like, nah, too soon. Not going to do it.
Yeah.
Too soon.
I thought it was funny that the news that came out today was after they found the remains of the submarine.
The debris field.
Yeah, they found the debris field, and the Navy came out and goes, "Oh yeah, we heard a pop a couple days ago."
Jesus.
Like, what? And they're like, yeah, no, we have a top secret sonar thing that heard an implosion. Like, oh, could save some money on that.
Exactly, right? Look how bright this thing is. Let me see if I can reach back here without knocking my monitor off. Yeah. Look how bright that thing is.
Oh, good. Yeah.
So yeah, I got this little thing. Got it. Just do just enough to get that weight there. There you go. That's perfect. That works. Oh man. So yeah, John, I'm gonna spend some money while you're gone. I figure if you're on vacation, I'm spending money.
Sure.
So if you
free reign.
Thank you. Glad to hear that. Glad to hear that. Yeah. I got really envious when I realized that your desktop was on the floor. I'm like, oh, I need some longer display cables. I need a longer audio cable. Yeah, I'm gonna get a few things. It shouldn't be too bad.
All right, well, I'm gonna take
Go
off.
for it.
Really? You're bailing us?
I'm
Cool.
beat. I got a long day tomorrow.
All right. Well, let's. Thanks everybody for hanging out.
Thank you.
Fun. Bye.
2 hours in.
Bye.
Bye.